Okay, so picture the scene. You've just landed in Bangkok. The first thing that hits you is that humidity, that sort of tropical weight in the air.
And then the energy.
Oh, the energy, absolutely. The motorbikes, the street food, it's just intoxicating. And you're there to set up a business, or maybe you're finally looking for that retirement villa you've been dreaming about.
Right.
You find the perfect spot, and the agent, super charming, slides a contract across the table. They tap the paper and say, "Don't worry, we've structured this as a 90-year lease. You, your kids, your grandkids, you're set."
And that, right there, that is the moment the alarm bells should just be screaming in your head.
It sounds so perfect, though, doesn't it? But, according to this whole stack of research we're digging into today, that promise, that 90-year lease, is basically the first chapter in a very expensive cautionary tale.
It's a classic case of expectation versus reality. We're looking at this fascinating collision today. On one side, you have the market, a Bangkok workforce that's modernizing and wants total flexibility.
And on the other?
On the other, you have this really rigid, kind of conservative Thai property law that has very, very strict ideas about how long you can actually hold on to anything.
So we've gone through market reports, analyses of the Thai civil code, trend data, and our mission today is pretty clear. We're going to completely dismantle that 90-year myth.
And explain why the old school office is basically dead in Thailand.
And then look at the actual legal tools, the ones with the weird Latin-sounding names, that can actually protect your investment.
It's a mix of sociology and hard law, really.
Yeah.
You have to understand why the buildings are changing before we can talk about how to legally secure one.
Okay, so let's start there, with the why. The sources are really clear that the old office in Bangkok isn't just fading away, it's obsolete. But is this just the standard post-pandemic, everyone wants to work from the beach story?
That's the surface take, but the data points to something much more structural and really specific to Thailand. Yeah, it's driven by macro demographics. We have this image of Southeast Asia as being super young, right? And endless supply of labor.
Right.
But Thailand specifically has an aging workforce.
That feels so counterintuitive. You walk around Siam Square and it's all teenagers.
True, but look at the corporate world. The labor pool is shrinking. Companies are realizing they can't just burn through young graduates anymore because, well, there are fewer of them. They have to hold on to their experienced staff.
People in their 40s, 50s.
Exactly. And they're plugging the gaps with automation and AI.
So how does an aging workforce kill the traditional office?
Because a 50-year-old manager has totally different needs than a 22-year-old intern. They care about well-being, and not in the fluffy way. The sources say that to keep these people, the physical space has to support their mental and financial health.
So no more rows of desks under fluorescent lights.
Exactly. It's a flight to quality. The research actually draws this hard line at the year 2002. Buildings built before then are old stock.
Why 2002? What's the magic there?
Think of pre-2002 as version 1.0. Rigid floor plans. Central AC you can't control. They're just boxes to process work in. The new premium buildings are completely different. LED certification, advanced air filtration for the pollution.
And flexibility. The sources talk about moving from open plan, which everybody hates,
Oh, universal.
to something called activity-based working.
It's the end of your desk. Now you have focus pods for when you need to concentrate. You've got collaboration zones for brainstorming. And social hubs to just, build the company culture.
So the office is becoming more of a tool than a container.
That's the perfect way to put it. It's a destination. Why would I commute for an hour through Bangkok traffic to do something I can do at home? I go to the office to collaborate.
And for businesses, especially the smaller ones, this changes the whole financial picture. They're terrified of signing a long lease.
Totally. A 3-year lease on a huge space is a nightmare. What if you only need half of it next year? Or what if you need to bulk?
You're either bleeding cash or you're completely choked for space.
Which is why we're seeing this explosion of the service model. Co-working spaces, serviced offices. It shifts real estate from a capital expense to an operational expense.
You just pay a monthly fee for access.
Right. And this is where the whole landscape connects to what companies like MoveAndStay.com have been doing for ages. The sources mention them specifically.
They've been in the region for, what, over 25 years?
Yeah, and that history matters. They've been connecting business travelers and corporate teams with these kinds of solutions, serviced apartments, serviced offices, long before it was the trendy thing to do. They really specialize in that sweet spot for stays longer than just a few days.
It solves that friction problem, right?
Yeah.
You land in Bangkok, you don't want to spend your first month fighting with the internet company.
Yeah, exactly. You want to plug and play. And that's their whole model, making it easy for professionals and entrepreneurs to find a place to live and work without getting bogged down. It's access over ownership.
But, and this is the big pivot, while businesses are all about access, individuals and investors still have that deep primal urge for ownership.
That need to own the dirt.
Yes, and that is where the flexible market just slams into the brick wall of Thai law. So let's talk about the 90-year lease. I see this everywhere, especially in places like Phuket or Samui.
Oh, it's the classic pitch.
The pitches. The law allows 30 years, so we'll sign for 30, plus a guaranteed renewal for another 30 and a third one after that. Total, 90 years. It sounds solid.
It sounds logical. It looks great on paper, but the sources are incredibly blunt about this. It is a myth.
A myth how? Like, the contract is fake.
No, the paper is real,
Yeah.
but it's unenforceable as a property right. Under the Thai Civil and Commercial Code, the absolute maximum lease term you can register is 30 years. Full stop. That's the ceiling.
Okay, so what are those other two 30-year clauses even doing in there?
They are, in legal terms, personal promises. And this is the distinction that tricks everyone up.
Right.
There's a huge difference between a real right, which is attached to the land itself,
Okay,
and a personal right, which is attached only to the person you sign the contract with.
break that down.
So if I sign a contract with you, promising to renew your lease in 30 years, that promise binds me. If I still own the land then, you could probably sue me if I back out. But what if I die? Or, more likely, what if I sell the land to some big developer in year 15?
The new owner looks at my contract.
And they say, I didn't promise you anything? The Thai Supreme Court has ruled on this again and again. The new owner only has to honor the registered 30-year lease. That promise to renew, it just vanishes. It doesn't travel with the land.
That's terrifying. You could build a home, a factory, thinking you have a century, the land gets sold, and on day one of your 31, you're out.
Precisely. The sources call it the illusion of long-term security. Unless that lease is physically registered at the land department on the back of the actual title deed, it's not enforceable against anyone else. It's just a handshake.
So if the 9-year lease is just a gamble, what are the real tools? The sources bring up superficies and usufruct. They sound like something out of a Roman law class.
They basically are. But they're really powerful.
Yeah.
So superficies. This is the strongest option if you want to build something on land you're leasing.
How does it work?
It legally separates the ownership of the land from the ownership of the building on it.
So I don't own the dirt, but I own the bricks and mortar.
Yes. And unlike a simple promise to renew, a superficies is a real knot. Right. It gets registered on the title deed. So if the landowner sells the land, the new owner is stuck with your building. They cannot touch it.
That completely changes the power dynamic.
It does. It creates a kind of stalemate that really favors the tenant, which of course is why a lot of Thai landowners are hesitant to grant one. It makes their land harder to sell.
So you'd have to negotiate for it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, usufruct is a bit different. The name comes from use and fruit. It gives you the right to possess the property and enjoy its fruits.
Fruits meaning rental income.
Usually, yeah. If you have a usufruct on a condo, you can live in it, or you can rent it out and keep all the money. The landowner gets nothing for that period.
And how long does a usufruct last?
This is the interesting part. It's typically granted for the lifetime of the person who holds it.
A lifetime. So that's better than a 30-year cap.
It can be, but here's the trap. It dies with you. A usufruct is almost never transferable to your heirs.
Oh.
So if you pay a huge amount for a lifetime usufruct and then, have some bad luck a week later,
The money's gone and the rights are gone. Your family gets nothing.
the rights go straight back to the landowner.
This brings us to another dark corner, the sources flag. Succession. If I have a standard 30-year lease and I pass away in year 5, does my family get the other 25 years?
The default answer in Thai law is probably not.
Really?
Yeah, leases are often seen as strictly personal. The landlord's argument is, I trusted you, I don't know your kids, I didn't agree to lease to them.
So they can just take the property back?
They can, unless, and this is so critical, unless the contract has a specific succession clause making it an inheritable right, and it's all properly registered. The mess this leaves for families can be devastating.
It seems like every option has a catch. I can see why people try the company ownership route. This is that gray area everyone talks about.
Yes, the nominee structure, the elephant in the room.
So a foreigner can't own land, so they set up a Thai company which can own land.
Right, they create a company where Thai nationals hold 51% of the shares. On paper, it's a Thai company.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, those Thai shareholders are just nominees. They didn't put in any money. They're just names on a form to get around the law.
And the sources call this a trap. Why? It seems so common.
Common doesn't mean safe. The government cracks down on this stuff periodically. If they investigate and find your company does nothing, no business, no revenue, and the Thai shareholders are just getting paid to be there,
They can dissolve the company.
and your asset gets liquidated. But even if you avoid that, there's the constant administrative cost. Annual filings, accountants, taxes. It's a slow financial drain.
So a clean, registered 30-year lease might actually be cheaper and safer in the long run?
The sources argue it often is.
Speaking of costs, registering a lease isn't free, is it?
No, and this is why people try to avoid it. When you register a lease, you pay a government fee and stamp duty. It adds up to about 1.1% of the total rental value over the entire lease term.
Okay, let's do some quick math. If I'm leasing a nice office for, say, 100,000 baht a month over 30 years, it's 36 million baht.
And 1.1% of that is nearly 400,000 baht, a check you have to write on day one.
I see why people balk at that. Why pay the government when we can just have a private agreement?
Because that 400K is your insurance policy. It's the cost of turning a personal promise into a real property right that's enforceable against everybody.
And to make sure you're getting what you pay for. The sources stress due diligence. It seems obvious, but people skip it.
It's baffling. People will transfer millions without doing a basic title check.
What does a proper check involve?
For about 10,000 to 25,000 baht, a lawyer goes to the land office and checks the back of the title deed. Is there a mortgage on it? Is it about to be seized? Does your neighbor have the right to drive through your front yard?
The stuff the glossy brochure leaves out.
Exactly. It's a tiny fee to avoid a total disaster.
Okay, we've covered a huge amount of ground. Let's try to boil this down.
Let's do a recap.
First, the whole context. The old way of working is over. The workforce is aging, they demand quality, and the smart money is on flexible, premium, hybrid spaces.
Right. It's less about owning the office and more about having access to a great one. Hence the rise of services like Move and Stay.
Second, the 90-year lease is a fiction. Do not bet your future on it. 30 years is the hard legal limit.
If you see 30 plus 30 plus 30, just read it as 30. The rest is a gamble.
Third, use the real legal tools. Superficions to own the building, usufruct for lifetime use, and register everything.
If it's not registered at the land department, it basically doesn't exist to the outside world.
And finally, avoid the traps. The company nominee structure is risky, and you have to plan for succession or your heirs could lose everything.
It sounds strict because it is, but if you know the rules, you can still win the game.
You know, there's one thought that struck me reading through all this. We spend so much energy trying to lock down forever that 90-year lease, owning freehold land, we want to build a fortress. But all the market data, everything we're seeing with successful businesses in Bangkok, it's all about being fluid, moving into serviced offices, scaling up and down.
It's a paradox, isn't it?
It is. We're fighting for legal permanence in a business world that rewards agility. Maybe the smartest move isn't figuring out how to hold a building for a century.
But how to be ready to move out of it next year if you need to.
Exactly.
Security used to be a fortress. Now maybe security is a backpack.
Yeah.
Something you can take with you.
Something to think about before you sign on that dotted line. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Stay curious. And always read the fine print.
See you next time.